Are you loving your Jingle quilt? Well, today's kind of a big day, so let's get at it. Hey everyone, Cristin Som here, and we are continuing with our Jingle All the Way quilt with our sponsor, Oma Darlings. So we have all of section 1 complete. Beautiful. And then we have a lot of parts for future sections. So we have our extra Jingle All the Way block, and we have our 9-patch block, our extra 9-patch block, and then we have the 3 Lemoyne stars. So you had an option of doing just one, but it looks like most people are taking the challenge and doing all 3. So we are really getting ahead of the game. So today is going to be kind of a big day, but as always, you have the option of having it be a little day. It's up to you. We are going to work on the peppermint twist blocks. So we really only need one of them right now. So you can just do one, or if you want to stretch yourself, you can do all 5. There's 5 of them. So depending on your hoop size, you can get them done in as little as 1 hooping. If you have a 10 by 16 hoop, a 9 by 14, I think it would be too tight. So if it were me, I'd probably do 3 in the 9 by 14 hoop and 2 in a 6 by 10 hoop. But again, all of this is depending on the time that you have available and the hoop size that you have. So let's go ahead and go over what we need for our peppermint twist blocks. And I'm going to twist it just a little bit, just a tiny, tiny bit for ease, right? So I'll go over that. It's basically on the quilting design. I'm going to change something up a little bit. All right, so the peppermint twist blocks are on page 5 of the oldest book. So depending on which book you have will depend on where your peppermint twist blocks are. So grab your packet if you made a packet. There are a lot because there are 5 peppermint twist blocks that we're going to work on. So I'm going to go over each of them separately since they all have different products for it. All right, and then I'm going to do them in the order in my book. It has it down at the bottom of page 5. There's the 5. So I'm going to do them in that order. All right, and they will come up. I looked at the book as far as where they all show up, and that's where I'm going to make my little change just for ease of joining in the hoop. So we'll go over all of that. All right, so the first one, the first peppermint block is going to be the gray with white dots fabric. All right, and I believe this is 6.5. Yep, 6.5 by 6.5. Make sure to back this with fusible stabilizer whenever you have your main fabric. Absolutely stabilize that at least. If you choose to do the applique fabrics, great. If you don't, that's up to you, but at least do your background fabric, all right, to make sure that you don't get puckering. So 6.5 by 6.5. This is for the first peppermint twist. We'll just call this peppermint twist 1. All right, so the gray with white dots, 6.5 by 6.5. And then we have the white houndstooth fabric. It's tone on tone, so white on white houndstooth fabric. And we are going to have this at 4 by 4. All right, 4 by 4. I did back mine with fusible stabilizer, so keep in mind white fabric on gray. There's one that will be on black fabric, so I do recommend backing this with fusible stabilizer, but I'm going to let you be in charge of that. So 4 by 4. Preferably backed with fusible stabilizer, the white houndstooth fabric. All right, this is for peppermint twist 1. And then for the last fabric for peppermint twist 1 is the green with white fabric. Again, 4 by 4. I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. That's up to you. 4 by 4 for peppermint twist 1. All right, and then we need our batting. So our batting is going to be, let's see, our final cut size is 4.5 by 4.5. So that means we want a piece of batting that is 5 by 5. So 5 by 5 for your batting today. All right, and then on this one, let's see, so this is the green with white dots. So that one I am going to do geometric 2. You can use, as always, any quilting design that you want. You just need to make sure that it is a 4 by 4 quilting design. So I'm going to use geometric 2 for that one, all right, in a 4 by 4. All right, that's Peppermint Twist 1. Now for Peppermint Twist 2, let's move on to Peppermint Twist 2. And we are going to have our background fabric be the white with black dots. All right, white with black dots. Again, in a 6.5 by 6.5. Make sure to back this with fusible stabilizer. This is your background fabric. 6.5 by 6.5 for Peppermint Twist 2. All right. And then we again have that houndstooth fabric. This is going to be 4 by 4. Again, I suggest that you do back this with fusible stabilizer, but that's up to you. 4 by 4 for your Peppermint Twist 2 fabric. And then we have for this one, the last fabric is the red scroll fabric. All right, the red scroll fabric in 4 by 4. I did back mine with fusible stabilizer, but that's up to you. 4 by 4. All right, and this is for Peppermint Twist 2. And then we have our batting, which is 5 by 5. 5 by 5 for your batting. All right, now on this one, I'm going to use lines 3 in a 4 by 4 quilting design. Again, you can use any quilting design you want. I'm going to use lines 3. I'm almost certain it's in the Jingle All the Way quilting bundle. So lines 3, and this one comes in horizontal or vertical. I'm going to use horizontal. Pretty sure I'm going to use horizontal. It's going to go horizontally, and there's also vertical. And really, since it's the same size, it's, you know, it's a square block. So really you could do whichever one that you prefer. So that one, I'm going to use lines 3 in horizontal. And that's the one I'm going to change how I put it in the hoop. That's all. The only change I'm going to make is how I'm going to put it in the hoop. And I'll explain that later when we get to the software portion of this video. All right. So number 3, Peppermint Twist 3 is on the gray fabric like Peppermint Twist 1. So 1 and 3 are in the gray fabric with the white dots. This is your main fabric. So make sure to back this with fusible stabilizer. We want this to be 6.5 by 6.5. All right. And then we have that white houndstooth again. The white houndstooth 4 by 4, preferably backed with fusible stabilizer. 4 by 4. This is for Peppermint Twist 3. And then we have this, I don't know what you call it, but lines, wavy lines, I don't know. This is the old fabric. All right, this is the original one. It has been discontinued. If you have from way back when, if you bought your fabric kit, then you would have this. We want it to be 4 by 4. If you bought from our sponsor, they substituted the green mini awning, and I'm going to drop everything now. Hold on a second there. Sorry. All right, so the green mini awning is your substitute. So either one of these, you want it to be at 4 by 4 for your fabric. All right, 4 by 4. This is for Peppermint Twist 3. All right, and then for Peppermint Twist 4, oh, so batting, sorry, I almost forgot. So your batting is going to be 5 by 5. And then for this one, the quilting design, I'm going to use, again, any quilting design you want. I'm going to use Geometric 2, just like number 1. All right, so Peppermint Twist 3, I'm using Geometric 2, did I say 2? Sorry, Geometric 2 in a 4 by 4 quilting design. Again, any quilting design that you want in 4 by 4. All right, and then for number 4, Peppermint Twist number 4, that's the one that's going to be on this black fabric and with white dots on it. So make sure to back this with fusible stabilizer. This is going to be 6.5 by 6.5 for your main fabric for Peppermint Twist 4. All right. And then your fabric, again, is that white houndstooth. And this is why I was saying it would be really good to have this backed with fusible stabilizer so that that black isn't coming through. All right, but that's up to you. 4 by 4 for your white houndstooth fabric for Peppermint Twist 4. And then this one, we have the red wavy lines. So this one, again, 4 by 4. This is an old fabric that has been discontinued. So if you have it from the original kit, you're all set. Otherwise, you would have received a substitute from our sponsor, and they substituted with these mini wavy lines. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's what I'm going with. Mini wavy lines. So either one of these in a 4.5 by 4 by 4 will work great. All right. That's for number 4, Peppermint Twist. And then 5 by 5 for your batting, just like before, 5 by 5 on your batting. And I'm going to use Quilting Design lines 3, probably in horizontal. I'll decide for sure when I get there, but most likely in horizontal lines 3. Any quilting design that you want that is 4 by 4. All right, that's what I'm going to use for number 4. And then the last one, number 5, is going to be on this white with black dot fabric. And this, we're going to start with that 6.5 by 6.5. Make sure to back your main fabric with fusible stabilizer. 6.5 by 6.5 for Peppermint Twist 5. All right, and then we have that same white houndstooth fabric in a 4 by 4, preferably backed with fusible stabilizer, up to you. 4 by 4 for the fabric for the Peppermint Twist. And then for this one, we have the red. It's the flower circles, I don't know what you call it, dots. There's dots on it too. You want this one to be in a 4 by 4. Now keep in mind that this is an older fabric. I don't know if it's been discontinued or not, but our sponsor did substitute for us. They have the red with multi dots on it. We used this on our whisk quilt, if I recall correctly. So either one of these will be great. You want it to be in a 4 by 4, whether you have the older fabric or the substitute. I think this one has been discontinued as well, so she must have just had extra, but that will be very cute on her Peppermint Twist 5. All right, 4 by 4. And then again, for your batting, you want it to be 5 by 5. And on this one, I am going to use Geometric 2 again as my quilting design in a 4 by 4. Any quilting design that you want that's in a 4 by 4 design. So I'm going to use that Geometric 2. I believe that's in the Jingle All the Way bundle of quilting. So that will... Sorry, sound. So that will work great. So I think I'm going to do all 5 of these in one hooping. But like I mentioned, you could do 3 in one hooping, 2 in another hooping. If you have only a smaller hoop, then you can do each of them singly, whatever works for you. But I'm going to move the order just so that I get all 3 of the geometric ones in one hooping and the 2 of the lines 3 in a different hooping. So that just will make it easy for that color sort. It's definitely, I mean, it's easy either way, but that's the change that I'm going to make. So if you look at your book, so we have the Geometric 2. So Geometric 2, Geometric 2, and then this one was also Geometric 2, but these 3 will go together on the quilt, but I'm going to substitute. I'm going to have these 3 be in one hooping, but then when I put the blocks together, I'll do it the way that it's showing. So these 2 I'm doing in lines 3. I believe in the official quilting bundle, they have one of them be lines 3 and one of them be Jingle Christmas 5, the one that has the jingle words on it. But I want to group those together, and I think it'll be cuter, and they're totally in separate places on the quilt. So I'm doing it differently. And again, you can use any quilting design that you want on your 5 blocks in a 4 by 4 quilting design. So I'm just going to mix them up that way. So I have 3 in Geometric 2 and 2 in lines 3. How confusing is that? Anyway, so kind of a big day because it has 5 blocks to it. But again, you can just do 1 block now and come back to this tutorial later to do the other 4 when you have more time. Either way will work totally fine. So I'm going to bring you over to the computer so I can show you how to merge those together and how to join them for the color sorting and all of that. So let's go ahead and get over to the computer for a moment. Hey everyone, so I'm at my computer now and I'm just going to quickly show you how to merge these 5 peppermint blocks together. If you choose, you can always do them separately. You can do them 3 and 2, one in each hoop, or you can try and get all 5 in one hooping depending on your hoop size. So I'm going to open up Embellishment Essentials. That is the software that I highly recommend. If you have not given it a try, give it a try. It's so user-friendly, and I walk you through literally step by step. So if you are in the market for embroidery software, please use my affiliate link to purchase it. That helps out the channel. So I'm going to I always start by checking what hoop size I'm on. So I'm on my 10 by 16 hoop right now. That is what I'm going to use. So, and I didn't turn my machine on, but that's okay. So 10 by 16 hoop, whatever hoop size you want, you can go up to this preferences folder, click on that and choose your hoop size. I'm going to use my 10 by 16 and I'll talk about other options and if you do it in two separate also. So actually, now that I think about it, if I were to do, I'm going to show you. So I'm going to use my 10 by 16 hoop. Like I said, you can do 3 that have the same quilting design in one hoop and then do 2 in the other hoop. That was what I was originally going to do because I don't know how many people have this big 10 by 16 hoop. I know a lot have the 9 by 14, and I did try it in the 9 by 14 at first, but keep in mind that this 4 by 4 quilting design is actually 4.5 by 4.5. So when you put two 4.5 inch designs together, that's 9 inches total, and the hoop is 9 inches. So it's too close for comfort for me because our fabric overlaps. So our fabric is 6.5 by 6.5. So that's quite a bit of overlap, and I just find it stressful. So many of you probably will not. You're probably a pro at it. So just do whatever works for you. So start by choosing your hoop size, say okay, and then click on this compass button and click H for hoop, and it zooms in so that you can see your entire hoop. All right, and then I'm going to start by choosing my quilting design. So I'm going to go to, I showed you this way last time, so I'm going to show you a different way. You can go to this merge stitch file and navigate to where you have that folder, or if your folder is handy, you can double click on your folder and open up the quilting design. So I want that geometric 2. I'm going to double click on that. Embroidery files, Pez is what I use for my machine. And you can, this is probably list view. You can probably go to view extra large, and then it'll show you them this way. So whatever works for you on choosing that 4 by 4, sorry, I almost said 8 by 8, 4 by 4 quilting design. So let's see, it should be 4 by other. Oh, that's funny. So in the other way, it shows it a little different. So geometric, it does have vertical or horizontal. I did not know that when I said I'm going to do geometric too. So it looks like the little geometric is going toward the left or it's going toward the right. So whichever works for you. Hold on just a second. Okay, so I'm going to use this vertical one. So all I have to do is click on it and drag it over to my workspace on Embrilliance, and it goes to the center. So there's that option of bringing in a design or using that merge stitch file. Either one will work fine. All right, so there is the geometric 2 in a vertical. I'm going to go ahead and click on the design, and I'm just going to bring it up here to the top left-hand corner. And then I'm going to want to change all of these default blues and oranges, because if I don't, when I do a color sort, those are going to join together. And then you would have to put your batting and your fabric down. It's all going to be in one step. And that defeats the purpose, because then we don't have a way to cut our batting and be able to not have the bulk in our seams. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just change this. And since I'm going to do 3 of them with this geometric, I can just do a copy and paste after I've changed the colors. So I'm going to click on 1, and click on the properties window and click on the color. I'm in palettes right now, so make sure you're in threads. If you're in palettes, you can see right here, it's going to show the colors that are already in your design, and we want colors that are not in our design so that they don't join together. So I'm going to click on the threads, and the first color that comes up for me is dark aqua. I'm going to say okay. And then 1, 2, click on the color down here in the properties window, and I'm going to click the first color that comes up for me, which is blaze, and say okay. And then 1, 3, click on the color. I'm going to use the second color down, which is marine for me. It'll be whatever works for you. I'm just using, I don't want to sit there and waste time going through all the colors to get the right color. It doesn't matter at this point. I'm just clicking what's available for me. All right, and then 1, 4, click on the color. We already used blaze, so I'm going to use the next color down, which is Oriole. And then 1, 5, click on the color. Now, one thing I forgot to think about is that 2 of these are on gray, 2 of them are on white, and 1 of them's on black. So actually, you're going to choose whether you want it to stop. I think I might do a light gray on all 3 of them, so I don't have to worry about that. But if you want a stop so that you can change your thread colors, you would need this step 1, 5 to be a different color on each one. All right, and that's easy to do as well. I don't I'm kind of thinking a light gray on all of them, then it would stand up well on, I think it would stand up well on all of them. I think I'm going to do that. So again, if you want a different color on each one, you have to change this 1-5 color, and it just won't sort that. So totally up to you. I'm thinking I'm going to do a light gray. All right, so I'm going to keep this. No, I'm going to come down here. Sorry, 1-5, click on the color, and I'm going to choose Sprout and say, okay. All right, so that's done. Click outside so nothing is selected. Or actually, while it's selected, you can go ahead and do your copy and paste. So click on the design, Control C on your keyboard to copy it, and then Control V like victory to paste it. And you can't see that there's a second one, but you can tell in this objects window that there are two because it's right on top of the first one. So I'm just going to click my right arrow key to move it all the way over to the right. All right, and this is what I want to show you, that I have room. So see, I've got room for that extra fabric, whereas if I used the 9x14, they're like right on top of each other. So, and that will work. You just would make your fabric in a way and watch it so that you don't have the overlap. All right, so that's the second one. I'm going to say Control V because it's already copied. I'm going to say Control V to get a third one, and then I'm just going to bring this down. I'm using my down arrow key on my keyboard, and I'm going to bring it down to the center. All right, so that's the first three. That's already done. That was super easy. Now for the other two, and again, you can do this in a separate hooping if you prefer. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the quilting design for the other two, which is that lines 3 in a horizontal. So I showed you how to do it this way. The merge stitch file is basically the same thing. You're just telling it where to find that design. So I have my Jingle All the Way quilting bundle, and I want lines 3. Embroidery files, Pez is what I use for my machine, and I'm looking for a 4x4. And then again, there's a vertical or a horizontal on this and on that geometric too. I didn't a lot for that. I didn't realize that at the time. But so 4x4, lines 3 and horizontal, that's what I'm going to choose. Double click on that. It goes to the center. And I'm just going to click on it, make sure you've got just that lines 3 quilting design. And I'm going to bring this over to the center, over to the right-hand side of the center. All right, now I've got those blues and oranges again, so I want to make sure to change these up. Now you can choose to have them all the same so that you're doing all of the batting and cutting and all of that at one time, and then just have the quilting design be separate if you're going to use a different color. So I'm actually going to use gray on all of them, so I don't need that. I need these same colors. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click outside so nothing is selected, and I'm going to go back to 4-1, and I'm going to click on that properties window and do dark aqua because that's what we used before. And then 4-2, click on the color. I want blaze. 4-3, click on the color. I want the second color down, which for me is marine. And then 4-4, click on the color. I want the second color down, which is Oriole. Say okay. And this is where I was saying that you would use a different color than Sprout or whatever you used on the first one if you want a different thread color. I'm going to go with the same. I think that just makes it easy, and it'll look nice with the white background, the gray background, and the black background. So I'm going to use a light gray. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it to that Sprout, and it will do them all together nice and easy. All right, so that's done. Click outside so nothing is selected. Click back on that design and say Control C to copy that, and then Control V like victory to paste it. And it goes right on top of that previous one. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to click on it and drag it because I need it down here at the bottom of my hoop. All right, and then I'm going to say Control V like victory to paste a last one, and I'm just using my arrow key on my keyboard to bring it down to the bottom of my hoop. All right. Oh, I have 6. We only need 5. Sorry about that. Click on that one, delete. If you made another one like me, we only need 5 of them. So I'm going to take this one and I'm just going to bring it over to the center. It doesn't matter at all, but my little OCD brain likes it to be a little bit more correct in alignment. All right, so that's our quilting designs for all of them. We could do a color sort right now, but those peppermint twists, those are all the same, doing the same thing over and over again. So we can actually have those added in before we do our color sort, and we can color sort the whole thing. So keep in mind that the last step of when we do the satin stitch outline, we will want that different, I'm assuming, actually. Hold on one second. Okay, so the last bit, that outline of the peppermint, three of them, I believe 3 will be red and 2 will be green. So we will want to separate those. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in the peppermint swirl. So I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File and close up my quilting designs. Actually, that was the whole, there we go. Embroidery files, Pez is what I use for my machine. And I'm looking for the 4x4 peppermint swirl right there. Double click on that. It will go to the center. Now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to bring it up here, and I'm not going to line it up perfectly because I'm going to do a line and distribute to make sure that it's just right. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and change these colors. So see the cyan and the oranges. If we don't do that, you would have to put the white fabric down and the red fabric at the same time. And boy, that would be a mess trying to do that cutting. So we want to make sure to change those colors. So click outside so nothing is selected. Click on 6-1. 6 is the design. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this, the blue down here in the properties window, the color. And I'm not going to choose marine because we used marine in our quilting design. So we want to make sure not to have that same color. I'm going to come down here to the Hawaiian blue, whatever color that you want, but make sure it's not one that we've already used in our quilting design, and say okay. And then 6-2, the orange, click on the color, and I'm going to choose Halloween, the first color that comes up for me because we did not use that in our quilting. Say okay. And then 6-3, click on the color. Now we have, after the Hawaiian blue, the next one is Mercury. So I'm going to choose Mercury and say okay. And then 6-4, click on the color. We already used Halloween, so I'm going to use Butterscotch. And this is just for that placement and tack down of the white fabrics and the red fabrics or the green fabrics. All right, and then 6-5, I'm going to click on that color and I'm going to choose Monarch. Actually, I think I'm going to choose, well, I'm going to choose green so that I know which ones are green. I'm going to choose a green. So just type in green and choose. It doesn't matter what color you choose. It's totally up to you. I'm going to choose Shamrock and say okay. All right. Because I can have the greens run at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to start with just this part and then we'll come back to the align and distribute and then back to the color sort. All right, so that one is done. Now we have one other that is all green. So I'm going to go ahead, and that one is also on a geometric. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this. Now if I were to align and distribute, I wonder if it would probably not line up. I'm going to go ahead and just copy the whole thing. So when you copy that design, so it's pretty easy to make a mistake and get more than just the peppermint twist. You don't want the quilting. You can click right on the stitching and then check to make sure that that's what you have. Or you can do it by clicking on this number 6 up here. All right, and that gets all of the parts for the peppermint twist. All right, so I'm going to say Control C to copy that, and then Control V like victory to paste it. It goes right on top of that first one. I'm going to go ahead and just grab it and bring it over here. All right, and we don't have to line it up just right because we're going to do an align and distribute anyway. All right, so those are our 2 green ones. Now we need 3 red ones. And let me see, the 3 red are going to be on the 2 white fabrics and the black fabric. Yeah, because we already did the 3 geometrics, 2 of the lines, so now we just need 3 of the peppermint twists in red. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say Control C while I have that peppermint twist highlighted, and then Control V like victory to paste it, and we should have another one. There we go. Yep. So grab it and drag it down to one of the next blocks. Now, here's the thing though, is we want to make sure to change that green so that we know that we want to stop. The big thing is we want it to stop so that we can change our thread color so that we've got that red of the satin stitching. So that's just the last part. So I'm going to click outside so nothing is selected and then click that last part. So it's 8-5 and I'm going to just choose a red. So I'm just going to type red in here and there. I'm going to choose Imperial Red and say, okay, again, it doesn't matter what color. It's just to give that stop and to give us a visual of what we're working on. All right, so that one's done. Now we need 3 of the red ones. So I'm going to go ahead and say don't say Control C right now, because then you'll only get that satin stitching. Click outside so nothing is selected, and then click back on that number 8 so you get all of the parts of the peppermint twist. All right, that's important. Now say Control C to copy and Control V like victory to paste. Grab it. Oh, see, this is what I was saying. It's easy to grab the quilting if you're not clicking right on the stitching. So that was a good way for you to see that. So what I'm going to do, instead of trying to line it up just right, I'm going to let go of it and I'm going to click this undo button, this left arrow up here at the top. This left arrow is different. So this one is the undo button. And if you hover over it, you can see it says undo. So say undo so that you make sure not to have that quilting design. Click outside so nothing is selected. Click on that peppermint over here, this number 9, and say Control C to copy and then Control V like victory to paste. And we should be able to just grab it, but I'm going to move it out of the way to make sure. And then I'm going to grab it. And again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be lined up just right because we're going to do that later. Now, while that is already copied, I'm going to say Control V like victory to paste a third one. And I'm going to just move it down a little bit to get it away from that quilting. And then from there, I can grab it and move it over. All right, so there we have our 5 designs, and again, 2 of them are going to stitch in green, and then we have a stop to be able to do the other 3 in red. All right, so the lines we have in red, and the lines in, so I made a mistake. So one of these is supposed to be 3 of them. Let me see here, are the geometric. That's okay. One of them is on geometric. 3 of them are red. It's perfect. Sorry, my mistake. I didn't make a mistake. All right, so those are done. Now, before we do a color sort, you have to make sure to do it before you do a color sort, because once you have a color sort, you see right in here, we've got 11 designs between the 5 quilting and the 6, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why do I have 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There should only be 5. Why do I have 4? Let's see here. So there's 1, there's 1, there's 1, there's 2. So there's 2 on here. You should only have 10 designs, and I have 11. I have an extra. I'm going to click delete on that so that I have 10 designs. I'm not sure. I must not have moved one of them. All right, sorry about that. So make sure that you have 10 designs. So it should be 5 quilting designs and 5 peppermint twist designs. All right, I'm glad I noticed that before we did all this. So we have 10 designs total. If we were to do our color sort right now, we would have 1 design and you can't move them. So make sure to have your align and distribute done before you do a color sort. All right, so now here's going to be the fun part, is doing an align and distribute. We're going to click on number 1, and then we want the first peppermint design, which should be this one. Let's make sure. I'm going to hit the control button and the peppermint, number 6. So number 6 design peppermint. And you can see they're both highlighted, so we know that we have the right ones. And I'm going to go to Utility, Align and Distribute. And I'm going to say center, center, and then watch how it changes. It might move the entire thing. It shouldn't really, because it's pretty close there. We should be okay. I'm going to say apply, and it moved down just the tiniest bit. All right, so that one's great. Now we're going to click on number 2, quilting design, and number 7. I'm going to click the control button so I can get both of them. So number 2 and number 7, and I'm going to go to Utility, Align and Distribute, center, center, and watch this little pinwheel twist and see how much it moves. So it moved down just a tiny bit. All right, and then say close. Now we want number 3, quilting design, control button, and we want number 8 of the peppermint twists. So we have those 2 items selected: Utility, Align and Distribute, center, center, apply, and it moved to the right and down just a tiny bit. All right. And then we want number 4, quilting design, and then hit the control button, and we want number 9 of our peppermint twists and utility align and distribute, center, center, apply. We didn't get to see how much it moved, but it looked like it came down just a bit. All right, and then last one, number 5, quilting design, control button, number 10, peppermint twist, and we're going to say utility, align and distribute, center, center, apply, and it moved down and to the right just a tiny bit. All right, so those are now lined up perfectly within their quilting design. So that's perfect. And now we want to do our color sort. So right now we have 50 color steps. Oh my gosh. This would take like all day to do 50 different color stops where we're telling our machine to keep going and all of that. That would take a lot of time. So we should be able to get this down. And keep in mind now, don't forget that I'm going to do my quilting designs all in a light gray. Or you could use a white, or you can use separate colors, and then it will have more stops. But I'm going to do them all in one color. So I'm going to be able to break this down by a whole lot. So let's just see. I'm going to say utility color sort. And it thinks, and it's reduced it by 39 color changes. Now, before we leave this, I want to make sure and remind you that you need to have these same settings if you want the same result that I have. So tolerance is at 0, that's the biggest thing, and then none of these are checked. All right, so make sure that you have that. And then I'm going to click New View. Always click New View, even if it's the smallest thing, because something could be different than what you planned. And if you click New View, it will open another tab. So we're on Untitled 1 now with 10 different designs. It'll open Untitled 2, a new tab, and we'll have all of that. 50 steps will be in one design now. So let's go ahead and click New View. There's our Untitled 2, and see now there it's all one design. I'm going to open that, and I'm just going to quickly look through these and make sure it did what I think it should do. So let's see, we have our placement stitch for the batting, and then our tack down stitch for our batting. Those are all grouped together. That's perfect. And then our placement stitch for our main fabric. So we'll put those grays and the whites and all the fabrics down together. And we have to make sure and pay attention to which ones go with which. Not that it matters a whole lot because you can make it your own, but I will show you how to do that. All right, and then 1-4, that is our tack down stitch or our basting stitch of our main fabric. And then the quilting designs on all 5 of them, because I'm going to use one thread color. So those are all grouped together. So that's going to be just so easy. And then 1-6, that is, let's see. Looks like we have all of these. Oh, because we're going to put all of those white fabrics down. I was thinking it's the satin stitch on all of them. That would be a problem. So we're going to put all of the white fabrics down on all 5 of our blocks, working all of them together. And then the tack down stitch of those, we will trim them. And then we'll put all of our red or green fabrics down on these. That's all together. And then we have our tack down stitch of those. And then all of the... what is it called? The thread color, the satin stitch for the first 2, the green ones will be done. And then we'll have our satin stitch. We'll change our thread color and have our satin stitch for our last 3 pinwheels. So that is so easy. So we're down to 11 color steps instead of 50. That's huge. What a big time savings this is. And even if you have to do them, because if you don't have the largest tube, you can still break it up into 2 sections where you have 3 of the red ones together and 2 of the green ones together. And even that is going to save a ton of time. So this worked great. So I'm going to do a file, save stitch file as, and I'm going to name this, let's see here. I'm going to go, I want to go to my Jingle All the Way and embroidery files. Pez is what I use for my machine, and I'm going to name this Pinwheel Twists times 5. So I've got them all in one, and that one is done. Make sure you're doing a file save as when you save this, and then you can send it to your machine if your machine is on and you have wireless capability. If not, save it to a USB stick, bring it over to your machine, and you're good to go. Let's get stitching. my shirt today. This is a newer one. I like it. I put a lot of sparkle on it. It is God is Good. I think I got it on Etsy. I'm pretty certain I got it on Etsy. I think I added the scripture verse on it, but I added lots of bling. Isn't that fun? So there is bling and the applicator tool in my Amazon shop, and the shirt also is from Amazon. It's a really good one. I like this one. So anyway, I will add information under this video of where I got the design on Etsy, and I'll also add a link here that you can go to my Amazon storefront to look at different shirts that you can embroider on. I highly recommend it. It's really fun. And then there's also bling in there and the applicator tool and all kinds of must-haves. So check that out when you have time. And how are you doing with your goal? I love hearing about your goals, and you guys are doing really good at it. I'm so impressed, always so impressed. So my husband and I joined a challenge at the gym. So, you know, I was a gym rat a ton of years ago, and I haven't been ever since I bought a bicycle, actually. As soon as I got a bike, I became an outdoor gal. I like working out outside. So I like cycling. I like hiking a lot. I like all kinds of things outside. And this gym, it's not really me, but it's a challenge. And you know me, I love challenges. I really love challenges. So I joined this challenge, and it would be, personally, I would think it would be better because we're going to have really bad weather very soon. And that is the time to go to the gym. So I think that would be better right now. It's beautiful outside, and I'm going to a gym and being inside, and not super a fan of that personally, but I got up early this morning, very early. I'm a night owl, so I don't generally get up early. And I got up early to go to a class at the gym. That's showing dedication, right? It was a step class. So we did this body pump class the other day that was intense, like super intense. We're both still very sore a couple days later, and it's all weight training, and you've got this barbell with weights on the meaty part of your back, and you're going up and doing all of these things, and it was a lot of work, and really good workout, and I really enjoyed it, and I was able to keep up with everything except the push-ups. I'm not good at push-ups at all. So did all of that. And so today I thought, oh, well, I'm going to try this other class out. And my husband said he was going to go with me. And then he flaked at the last minute. And a friend said she was going to go with me, and she flaked at the last minute. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm going anyway. How good is that, right? So I went anyway, early in the morning to the step class. The instructor asked if there was anyone new, and I raised my hand big. I'm like, yeah, totally clueless here. And you should have seen, I bombed at this class. I mean, like, literally, I did step aerobics probably back in the 90s or something when it was popular, and I thought, oh, I'll just pick it up. Well, I was like a klutz. But you know what is funny is, like, you get to a point in life where you just don't care, right? I'm sure I looked like a complete klutz, and I'm sure everybody was like, what is with that gal? And I didn't care at all. I just kept moving. I worked it hard, and I wore this heart rate monitor that is for the challenge, and I burned 489 calories in an hour, and I got my heart rate up in the yellow zone. I did really good, even though I had no idea what I was doing, but I got a good workout. And I enjoyed it, and I'm sure if I keep going, I'll figure out the pattern or the choreography or whatever. But totally sucked at it, didn't care at all, really enjoyed it, so got a really good workout out. I'm happy with that. Yesterday I had a workout with a trainer to show me how to use all the different machines, even though I was already sore from that body pump class. So I did that yesterday, and you know, body weight, like weight training, it doesn't really burn a lot of calories. I like cardio. I know I need weight training for sure for muscle mass and to build muscle. But so I get done with this workout, which was a really hard workout, and I was already very, very sore, but I get done and I'm like, I think I burned, I think it was like 93 calories or something. I'm like, come on. That's not fun. That's not rewarding and feeling like you're accomplishing a lot. And so I got home and I got on my bike trainer and I did this really hard series. I've been working on this very hard series, and it had like 1,038 feet of climbing in only like 7 or 8 miles of riding. So it was a hard workout for sure. Burned, I think like 360 calories, about that, something like that. So that felt accomplished. That felt good. So either way, I'm working it, right? Whatever it takes, I'm working it. We're wearing this heart rate monitor that helps you earn points and stuff based on workouts you did. So we both wore our heart rate monitor last night. We took the dogs for a walk, and it was just this leisure walk with the dogs, and you get like nothing on that. I think I burned 17 calories in the whole mile walk, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's not that's not gonna do it. My goals are way bigger than that, so that's not gonna work. So either way, I'm working it. I'm getting movement, learning new things. I learned a bunch of new weight training machines and tried 2 new classes this week. I was really proud of myself. Even when my friends flaked out, I still went. So that was really good. So how are you doing with your goal? I want to hear what your goal is, what your action plan toward accomplishing that goal, how you're holding yourself accountable, hopefully by sharing with me what you're doing. I love hearing about it. So I want to hear all about your goal.